In this lesson, we'll be looking at how to work in Mastercam, including the shortcut keys, Mastercam help, and the typical Mastercam workflow. So let's first take a look at how we can manipulate the screen with our mouse. I'm going to go down and select ISO view sheet here, which I'm already in. So the first thing I can do is zoom in and out with the middle mouse button. So if I put the middle mouse button up here, I'm going to zoom in and out relative to it. If I put it over here, I'm going to zoom in and out relative to it. So I'm rolling my middle mouse button. To pan, I'm going to hold down the shift key, hold down my middle mouse button, and I can pan the part around on the graphics view. If I hold down the control key and the middle mouse button, I will rotate about the center of the screen. If I put my mouse on the part and hold my middle mouse button, the part will rotate about that point on the part as I drag my mouse around. Mastercam also supports 3D mice if you have a 3D mouse. So a valuable resource inside of Mastercam is our help. So I want to bring up our help, and I got there by going to this little question mark in the upper right hand side. Another nice thing about help is it's also contextual. So if I open an operation, for example, you'll see a question mark here, and I'll get help based on this particular dialog. Same thing if I edit a tool, I have another question mark here. So help is contextual. This one here is for the whole help menu. So let's get back to help. And what I'm going to do, you've already see I've got shortcut keys up here. So I'm going to search for shortcut keys. This is what it looks like. This is what the search returned. I've got a few different options for shortcut keys, but let's start with the Mastercam shortcut keys. And you've got a full chart of the Mastercam shortcut keys. I use a lot of these regular, and I continue to learn them now and add more and more to my memory on what I actually use. So let's get back to Mastercam. And let's do some examples of shortcut keys. So I'm going to use the up arrow and the down arrow. And you can see it moves it up and down, left arrow, right arrow. I'm going to do the page up, page down. So page up brings it up, page down zooms away. Now I've got different views that I can look at. So I'm going to hold down the Alt button. I'm going to hold down Alt 1, that's front view. Actually top view, you can see the view in the lower left hand corner here. Alt 2, you can see it change to front. Alt 3, back, so on and so forth. Alt 7 is ISO view. If I go to Alt F1, it'll fit it to the screen. So in this case, it's fitting my stock, my chuck jaws, and my part, and any geometry that I have. I'll go back to Alt 1 to top. F2 by itself, no Alt, will zoom out 80%. Page up brings it up a little bit smaller amount, as does page down, which I pointed out before. There's just a different zoom percentage. If I right click on my screen, there's a lot of options inside my right click menu. Right click is very sensitive to where it is. So if I right click up here in the ribbon, I get a different menu for right click. If I right click over here, so on and so forth. But in regards to working in Mastercam, if I right click in the screen, I have a lot of options here that also have shortcut keys, which I've showed as well. Actually, a nice one inside of here is this zoom window. So I'm going to right click zoom window. I'm going to grab down inside of here, and you can see it zooms to my window. There's one more thing I'd like to show. So I'm going to bring up a PowerPoint slide for this and just walk through a typical workflow in Mastercam. So the first thing we're going to do is either design or import our part. Then we'll select the machine, lathe, the mill, or whatever the machine is. We'll define our stock. We'll do a setup on the part. We'll program the part. We'll process it and program it. We'll simulate it along the way to check for errors and make sure we're getting the result we're looking for. And then we'll post our code, which we'll put into the machine. So that's our general workflow. And throughout this course, we'll be using all of these different features.